Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. The Washington Commanders have been trudging through another forgettable season, and for a fan base that's grown tired of waiting for real progress, the frustration has reached a boiling point. Heading into the 2025 trade deadline, the expectation was crystal clear: General Manager Adam Peters was going to sell. Fans wanted to see a fire sale, aging veterans out, draft capital in, and a clear sign that the team was ready to start over. But when the deadline came and went, silence fell over Washington. No trades, no roster shakeups, no message from the front office to indicate a sense of urgency. It was the kind of inaction that leaves supporters scratching their heads, wondering whether the organization truly understands how stuck it really is. Peters, who entered the year trying to prove that last season's regression was just a blip, instead doubled down on a strategy that's left the Commanders spinning their wheels in mediocrity. And now, as the dust settles and the season fades into irrelevance, the eyes of Commanders Nation have already turned toward 2026. Because this next offseason, it's going to define Adam Peters' tenure in D.C., one way or another. After running it back with a roster that had far too many miles on it, and seeing that gamble blow up in spectacular fashion, Peters simply can't afford to miss again. The team's foundation feels fragile, the fanbase's patience is wearing thin, and even ownership, which once spoke so glowingly of Peters' long-term vision, must be wondering where the payoff is. 6 draft picks in 2026. That's all he's got to work with right now. 6 opportunities to reshape a franchise that's been directionless for far too long. Every pick has to count. Every move has to make sense. Every decision has to be made with one question in mind: how do the Commanders finally get out of their own way? That's why when Fansided's Cody Williams dropped his post-trade deadline mock draft, Commanders fans were paying attention. Not because it's gospel, it's November, after all, and mocks this early are mostly educated guesses, but because it offered a glimpse at what the team could do differently. Williams had Washington picking at number 10 overall, and the name he attached to that spot hit a nerve in the best possible way: T.J. Parker, the explosive edge rusher from Clemson. For a team starved of young defensive playmakers, this mock selection felt like a breath of fresh air. Parker represents exactly the kind of energy and athleticism that this defense has been missing. He's fast, he's relentless, he's disruptive, and, most importantly, he's young. Jaden Daniels' injury has already sealed the fate of this season. The Commanders aren't going anywhere, but even before that unfortunate setback, it was clear this roster wasn't built to compete in the long term. Peters bet heavily on veterans, believing experience and chemistry could compensate for declining athleticism. But you can't out-scheme time. You can't coach speed back into tired legs. Washington's defense, once the pride of the team, now looks like a museum of what used to be: familiar names, big contracts, and diminishing returns. The Commanders need juice, badly, and that's exactly what T.J. Parker brings to the table. Now, let's talk about Parker for a second, because even though Clemson's season has been a nightmare, the kind of year that makes fans wonder if the Dabo Swinney era has lost its edge, Parker has still managed to stand out. Every time you watch Clemson's defense, there's one guy consistently jumping off the screen, and it's him. The sack numbers might not be eye-popping right now, but context matters. Clemson's offense has been so inconsistent that the team has spent far too many snaps defending the run, forcing Parker to play in situations that limit his ability to rush the passer. But when the Tigers actually get opponents in a 3rd and long, Parker comes alive. His first step is electric. His hand placement is polished. He knows how to bend around the edge with purpose, and when he gets into the backfield, he finishes. That's the kind of presence Washington hasn't had since the prime days of Chase Young. And yes, that's saying something. This is a guy who was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school, and you can tell why. The technical foundation is there. He's got a powerful base, he can disengage from blocks, and he's not afraid to get physical in the trenches. Sure, there are things to clean up. His tackling in space could be sharper, and at times he can over-pursue when trying to make a big play. But those are coachable issues. What you can't teach is his burst off the snap and his natural feel for collapsing the pocket. The Commanders' defensive line used to be their identity, their heartbeat. Right now, it's just another unit. Bringing in someone like Parker could reignite that identity and give them a young cornerstone to build around for the next decade. Dorrance Armstrong Jr. was one of the few bright spots before he went down with a season-ending knee injury. His emergence as a consistent pass-rushing threat showed what this defense could look like with a little more dynamism on the edge. But behind him, the depth chart gets thin fast. There's no one that opposing offensive coordinators are losing sleep over. There's no one forcing double teams. And for a front office that completely ignored this position group last offseason, that's an indictment. Peters has to fix that, plain and simple. Edge rushers don't just help your defense. They transform it. A great one changes the entire rhythm of a game, masking weaknesses in coverage and forcing quarterbacks into mistakes. Washington used to understand that. It's time they remembered. If the Commanders end up with a top 10 pick, and given how this season is trending, that feels inevitable, they'll have an opportunity to reset the tone of their rebuild. They can't waste it on another safe pick or reach for need over talent. They need difference makers. Players who can walk into the locker room and instantly raise the standard. TJ Parker looks like that kind of player. He's got that edge, that confidence, that twitch that separates the good from the great. And while Clemson's struggles might scare off some teams, smart front offices know that evaluating talent means looking beyond the record. Parker's tape tells the real story, and it's a good one. So where does that leave Washington? Staring down an offseason that could finally deliver the reset fans have been begging for. The roster needs to get younger, faster, and hungrier. The old formula isn't working. Veterans who were once reliable now look like liabilities, and the energy on the field reflects it. You can see it in the body language, the missed assignments, the slow reactions. This isn't just a team that's losing games. It's a team that's losing belief. Drafting someone like Parker doesn't fix everything overnight, but it's a step in the right direction. It's a message to the locker room and the fan base alike. We're done recycling the same mistakes. We're building something new. Of course, the draft is only part of the equation. Free agency will matter, too, and Peters will have to decide whether to clear cap space by cutting some of the aging contracts that are dragging the team down. There will be tough decisions. Veterans who've given their all but no longer fit the timeline. That's the price of a rebuild. But if the Commanders want to be more than just a punchline, they have to be ruthless about their future. It's time to prioritize youth and development over nostalgia. Parker fits that philosophy perfectly. And yet, even with all the frustration, there's still a sliver of optimism, and DC Commanders fans are loyal, and they know that a true rebuild takes time. What they can't stomach, though, is stagnation. That's what this season has felt like, a rerun of the same movie, with the same ending and the same mistakes. But with the right draft approach and a willingness to embrace change, there's a path out of this mess. Parker could be a symbol of that change, a young, relentless player brought in not just to fill a hole, but to start a new era. Because at the end of the day, this is about more than just one draft pick. It's about identity. The Commanders need to rediscover who they are and what they want to be. Are they a franchise that clings to fading veterans in the name of stability, or are they ready to build something bold and modern? Adam Peters has the chance to prove that he's the guy to lead that transformation. The trade deadline came and went without fireworks, but the real test is still ahead. The fan base has been waiting for a move that shows vision, courage, and intent. Maybe, just maybe, selecting a player like TJ Parker would be that move. The kind of move that says, we're done waiting for the past to fix itself. We're ready to build the future. And this time, we're not looking back. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. Hold on to your helmets, folks, because ESPN just dropped a bombshell that's shaking the NFC East to its very core. Trey Hendrickson, yes, the Trey Hendrickson, is reportedly the newest reinforcement for the Washington Commanders. And if you thought the offseason was quiet, think again, because this move doesn't just strengthen Washington, it sends shockwaves straight through their biggest rivals, the Dallas Cowboys. The rumor mill has been spinning for weeks, but sources suggest that the deal is done, and Hendrickson is officially set to bring his elite pass-rushing skills to the nation's capital. Now, if you know anything about Hendrickson, you know this is a player who can absolutely change the dynamics of a defense. The kind of player that offenses have nightmares about. The kind of player that makes quarterbacks hesitate just a fraction of a second too long. And the Cowboys? Well, They're about to feel that hesitation more than anyone. Imagine the headlines next season. Commanders' defense terrorizes Cowboys' offensive line. That's the narrative we're starting to hear in locker rooms, and it's only getting louder. Hendrickson's ability to generate pressure on the quarterback is no secret. It's been the story of his career. He's the kind of player who doesn't just sack the quarterback. He makes the quarterback think twice, disrupts timing, collapses pocket structures, and forces mistakes. For the Commanders, adding a player of his caliber means they're not just playing defense. They're sending a statement. And let's be real, the NFC East is a division where statements matter more than anywhere else. Rivalries here are generational, and the Hendrickson signing is basically throwing gasoline on the Dallas-Washington fire. Sources close to the team are buzzing about how this signing could be the missing piece for Washington's defensive puzzle. Over the past few seasons, the Commanders have had flashes of brilliance, but they struggled to consistently pressure quarterbacks. Hendrickson fixes that. His versatility along the defensive line allows for creative schemes, stunts, and blitzes that opposing offenses simply can't prepare for in a week's notice. And the timing of this move is spicy, right before the Cowboys game, the one that defines so much of the NFC East hierarchy. There's chatter that the coaches are already drawing up plays to maximize Hendrickson's impact against Dallas, and insiders suggest that this could be a matchup nightmare for the Cowboys' offensive tackles. Fans are already imagining Hendrickson breaking through the line, sacking Dak Prescott, or collapsing the pocket in critical moments of the game, and it's sending waves of excitement and a bit of panic through both fan bases. Let's talk impact beyond the stats. Hendrickson is more than just numbers on a sheet. He's a player who can energize an entire defense. Teams feed off of him. When he's on the field, other defenders raise their game because they know pressure is coming and turnovers are possible. For Washington, this isn't just a signing. It's a cultural infusion. It's a statement that the franchise is ready to compete, ready to disrupt the balance of power in a division that's been dominated by the Cowboys' narrative for too long. Rumors from inside the locker room suggest that players are hyped, that morale has taken an uptick, and that coaches are already rethinking game plans, not just for Dallas, but for every team on the schedule. Hendrickson isn't just a weapon, he's a spark. And in a division where games are often decided by a single defensive play, a single sack, a single forced fumble, that spark could turn into a wildfire. Of course, the Cowboys aren't going to sit quietly. Word is that they've been monitoring Hendrickson's career closely, aware that any player who can consistently pressure the quarterback is a direct threat to their Super Bowl ambitions. Analysts have been speculating for months about whether Dallas has the right offensive line depth to handle an elite edge rusher, and now the question isn't hypothetical anymore. It's immediate. The rivalry just intensified in a way that fans are describing as personal. Hendrickson facing Prescott? The tension is already at fever pitch. Every snap, every blitz, every rush has the potential to rewrite the script of the division. And you can bet the Cowboys' defensive coordinators are also recalculating, because the ripple effects of this signing go beyond just one game. The NFC East just got way more interesting. What makes this rumor even juicier is the timing. Hendrickson didn't just sign to fill a roster spot. He signed to make a statement. Sources suggest that both he and the Commanders' front office see the Cowboys game as a defining moment, a chance to flip the narrative and possibly set the tone for an entire season. And if you think this is only about one player, think again. The ripple effect of adding Hendrickson goes deep. Secondary coverage looks different when the quarterback is under pressure. Linebackers can play more aggressively because edge pressure is guaranteed. And even the special teams feel the intensity when momentum shifts on a sack or a turnover. Washington is not just adding a player. They're adding leverage, and they're doing it right where it hurts the most. There's also chatter about the long-term implications. Hendrickson has the kind of leadership qualities that can influence younger players, and insiders are already pointing to a possible mentorship role, grooming the next generation of Commanders defenders. His presence on the field could also change how free agents view the franchise, signaling that Washington is serious about contention. And for fans, this is pure electricity. Imagine the build-up to the Cowboys matchup, the talk shows, the podcasts, the social media debates. It's all feeding a frenzy. And make no mistake, Hendrickson is central to that frenzy. He's not just a player you notice on the stat sheet. He's a player that defines moments, And when he lines up across from Dallas, every fan, every commentator, every analyst will be watching closely to see if the Commanders can finally make their move in the rivalry that has defined the NFC East for decades. But here's where it gets even more intriguing. Sources hint that the deal is only the beginning. There are whispers in the league that Washington could be positioning itself for more aggressive moves, using Hendrickson as the cornerstone of a defensive makeover. Could this spark a chain reaction of trades, signings, or strategic shifts across the division? Could Dallas respond in kind, trying to shore up weaknesses or make a counter-signing before the season kickoff? The rumor mill is alive with speculation, and every week until the season starts, there's going to be a storyline to track. Hendrickson isn't just a player in the roster. He's the catalyst for drama, strategy, and rivalry that could dominate headlines for months. So, buckle up, NFL fans. The Washington Commanders just sent a message louder than any press conference or tweet could ever convey. Trey Hendrickson is here, and the NFC East rivalry just went nuclear. The Cowboys now have a gauntlet to face. The fans are on edge, and every analyst worth their salt is recalculating projections. We're on the brink of one of the most exciting, tension-filled seasons in recent memory, and it all starts with a single, thunderous signing. Hendrickson to the Commanders isn't just news. It's a narrative shaper, a story starter, and a rivalry igniter. The rumor that was buzzing quietly is now front-page reality, and the Cowboys, for once, might be on the receiving end of the shockwaves. One thing is for certain. When Hendrickson steps onto the field, the division will never be the same, and every fan of Washington, or anyone who loves chaos and football, will be watching with bated breath. This isn't just a signing. It's the start of a saga, and it's about to get very, very real. Thanks for tuning into District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.